I am making this video on February 10th, 2024, 3 days after the passing of Mojo Nixon. Mojo Nixon was one of my favorite singers. I also directed Mojo Nixon in a movie, Buttcrack. Maybe you know that, maybe you don't. Doesn't matter, I still did. I have been just remembering the first time I ever heard Mojo Nixon. The year was 1989. I was a college freshman in Bozeman, Montana. I was going to school at Montana State University. I lived in a dormitory. North Hedges was the name of the dormitory. I lived on the 10th floor. I still remember the room I lived in. I lived in room 1020. I was cruising around. A friend of mine, his name was Doug. I remember that. I remember this chapter in my life so well. I remember Doug. I was cruising around with Doug in his car. We were listening to the radio, college radio station, just playing whatever pop hits were popular at the time. I couldn't even name any of the others. But all of a sudden, here's this new song I'd never heard before, and I was blown away by it. Debbie Gibson is pregnant with my two-headed love child. I thought, wow, this is an important song. This is not just the typical pop stuff that I'm hearing elsewise on this radio station and elsewhere in the world. This is like, it's just more hard-hitting. It's more real. It's more grungy. It's more in your face. It was perfect. It was the perfect song because it just didn't care. It took no prisoners. It didn't take itself so seriously, but at the same time, it had a good sound to it. It wasn't strictly a novelty song. It wasn't strictly just out for laughs. It was a funny song, but it still had its, drive to it. And I had to have that song. I had to know who this singer was. So I listened to the end. I heard what the DJ said, called him Mojo Nixon. Later, I don't remember if it was the same day or probably a day or two later, I walked a mile to downtown to where the record store was, this little record store called Cactus Records. I found Root Hog or Die, the Mojo Nixon album that Debbie Gibson is pregnant with my two-headed love child was on. I bought the cassette tape, and I know I did. I wore that tape out listening to it so much. Every song on it. I later, of course, got the CD. I still listen to it from time to time, but that was my first experience listening to Mojo Nixon. I went on to direct him in a movie I wrote, Buttcrack. You probably know that. Maybe you don't. If you don't, now you do. Doesn't matter. I'm not promoting that. It doesn't matter to me. Just saying, that was my first experience with Mojo. Now he's passed, so rest in peace, Mojo. You've gone to a far better place than this wretched earth the rest of us find ourselves on, to quote Preacher Man Bob in Buttcrack, as portrayed by Mojo Nixon.
I know Brother Wade is happy. Oh, Lord, he's happy that his friends and family and comrades and spiritual arms have gathered here today to send him on to the promised land. And I know you feel good because Brother Wade's in a better place. I know you're happy for Brother Wade. I know you are pleased that he has gone to the kingdom of heaven. Can I have an amen? Amen. Let me hear you say amen, brothers and sisters. Amen. I can't hear you. Say amen. Amen. Loud, 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 loud.